Hello, this is Jane Goodall, and I'm really pleased to be able to send a message to the Festival of Wellbeing, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the publication of that great journal, The Ecologist. I think that as we emerge from the terrible pandemic that has swept around the world, that has caused so much suffering and economic chaos, and which at the same time has seen so much of human goodness, the way communities came together, the way individuals, the doctors and nurses and others out on the front line doing their best to help during the worst days of the pandemic, and the helping not only people but animals. And I think the important thing to emphasize here is that this pandemic, to some extent, was brought on by ourselves. For years and years, the scientists of zoonotic diseases have predicted that this pandemic would happen, although they couldn't say when. And it's because of our disrespect of the environment, our disrespect of animals, that these so-called zoonotic diseases that jump from animals to people have become more frequent. And almost all the new diseases that appear in humans have come from animals. And we've been creating conditions which make it easy for a bacteria or a virus or other pathogen to cross over from an animal to a human. And some of those bond with a cell in the human body and create a new disease. So we've been cutting down forests and other habitats, pushing animals into closer contact with people. And we've been hunting them and killing them and eating them, selling them in the bushmeat markets of Africa, selling them as pets in Africa, in Latin America. We've been trafficking them, sending them from a region or even from different parts of the world to the wildlife markets in Southeast Asia, where animals are crowded together in horrible, cruel, and unsanitary conditions. And they're sold for meat, for medicine, for pets. And the conditions there are absolutely ideal for a seller or a buyer to be contaminated. And that seems to have been what happened with this COVID-19 and with SARS. And these new diseases were extremely contagious, particularly COVID-19. It swept around the world. And it's not just in Asia that these pandemics have happened. The MERS disease came from domestic camels in the Middle East. HIV/AIDS, that terrifying disease, came from chimpanzee meat in 2 different parts of Central West Africa. And there are many diseases that have jumped over to people from the cruel, crowded factory farms where billions of animals are bred for food. And in these dreadful conditions, so many of the workers there have been contaminated. As we emerge from this pandemic, it's very clear we need to think of a new relationship with the natural world, a new respect for the natural world. And we can't go back to business as usual, although many political and business leaders have been dying to do just that. But, I'm hoping that the probably millions of people who for the first time perhaps have been able to breathe clean air as industry was closed down and traffic lessened during the worst time of the pandemic. And they won't want to go back to the old polluted ways. And perhaps for the first time, they were able to look up at the night sky and see stars shining brightly, and not through a haze of pollution, or sometimes not at all. And I'm afraid that these conditions are coming back. But not only do we need to to find a new way of relating to the natural environment, a new respect for it, because whether we like it or not, we are part of the natural world and we depend upon it. And if we continue to destroy it, that in the end will be the end of us. We still have this window of time to try and make change. And at the same time, we need a new definition of success. At the moment, success is tied up with money, with the bottom line, and attempts to protect the environment are so often quashed by the need for, or supposed need, for economic development. But how can you have unlimited economic development on a planet with finite natural resources? It doesn't make sense. We need to have this new definition of success, of well-being, which depends on having a life where you can spend time with family, where you can, as the saying goes, have time to smell the roses, to enjoy the beauty that this life has to offer us. And I pray that somehow we can get together before it's too late and realize that we must change if we care about the future of our planet, if we care about the animals on the planet, each one of which, by the way, or each one of who has a personality and has feelings of fear and pain and despair. And these animals, some of them are so amazingly intelligent, we're only just beginning to learn. So all of this is part of what I've been talking about for years. And our youth program, Roots and Shoots, is instilling these values into young people, now in 65 countries, young people who get to choose projects to make the world a better place. They choose them, but one to help people, one to help animals, one to help the environment. And so at this Festival of Well-Being, I wish it all success, because well-being, a feeling of well-being, is what is so often absent. And we have to think about all those who are refugees, migrants without homes, and losing jobs because of this pandemic, and do what we can to help them, to grow this spirit of human goodness that's in all of us. So enjoy this Festival of Well-Being, get this feeling of well-being, take it away with you, share it, spread it. That's my message to you. Bye.